Jimmy, if we just quickly touch on Tuesday's game against Hartlepool, are there things that you've taken and learnt and put back onto the training pitch?
Yeah, well, we had a quite an in-depth classroom session yesterday in video analysis, looking back at the game and the reasons why we didn't gain control in the game and why we gave them too much control in the game. So we had a good 45 minutes of that. There were lots and lots of characteristics and the work that we'd done that we didn't do on Tuesday evening. And some very, very simple patterns that we could have implemented to find a way, again, out of their aggressive press. So looking back at the game, probably the first half, we wasn't as bad as perhaps I first thought we were. The second half, there was a 20-minute spell where we were definitely caught in between two game styles and didn't know whether to sit in and defend or whether to press and got caught in between, which gave them even more room to pick us off. And then in possession, most disappointing for me was we had a lack of options for the ball carrier, the person in possession. So we spoke about that in great detail. Ironically, reviewing the game back, we probably had our best 10-minute spell just before they scored. I think we said on Tuesday evening, the nature in how we considered that goal, having had a penalty box entry, with good possession, 18-20 yards from their goal, to end up coming back and having a 30-second spell without the ball and conceding the goal in the nature we did was bitterly disappointing. So on reflection, lots of things that were not us and not the way that we've worked over the last 2 weeks. We put that to bed and drew a line under that, and then got some positive work out on the grass yesterday.
Moving forward, we finally got to announce Richard Beale as your number 2, person you know very well, and what can he bring to the setup here?
Wealth of experience. He's an outstanding coach in his own right. He's been around some very, very good football clubs. Worked at first team level in the Championship with Birmingham City. So hopefully he'll bring that experience, a different viewpoint as well, different lens. I think that's always important. I think it's always important that people sometimes go against what I want to do and how I want to play and make me check and have a little, a difference of opinion. I think that's really, really healthy. So I've known Richard for 18, 19 years, both professionally and on a personal level. We get on really, really well outside of work. So I know and he knows, he can tell me how it is and I'll accept that. But as I said, he's an outstanding coach, one that we're very, very fortunate to prize away from Aston Villa and bring to the Moors. And
plenty of links as well with local clubs like yourself. Is that something you'd sort of look to delve into?
Most definitely, yeah. Most definitely, the low market is a healthy market if you get the right players and the right players. Obviously, both of our background is heavily on developmental backgrounds and academy backgrounds. So we both have an understanding of local talent. Talent that's further afield when we've played against under 23s, and of course those links that both of us hold with knowing under 23 managers across the country is going to be a vital one.
Moving on to tomorrow's game, AFC Fylde, have you been surprised with their season to date?
I have, yeah. They've got some very, very good players. They're a talented group. They've got a real threat. They play a decent brand of football. So yeah, I'm most definitely surprised in where they sit. I think if you look at recent results, other than the game against Dover, they're right within the game. It's been an odd goal, so it's not like they've been turned over week in, week out. They're right within games and maybe suffered some misfortune on occasions, but they're a good outfit. It'll be a big test to us. I think we've got to make sure that we look to put the wrongs right from our performance on Tuesday, but also we can't have the mentality that we're currently sat 7th in the league and they're sat where they're sat. On my reflection of reviewing their last 2 or 3 games, that league position is very much a false league position.
You mentioned that the league positions are quite far apart, but in terms of the players, they're signed at the start of the season. They're players that can really get into any side and hurt any defence.
100%. I mean, they've got a healthy budget. At Fylde, as I said, they've got some very, very good players, and I'm sure if those players were available at the end of the season, I'm sure there'd be plenty of takers for them. So they are a very, very good team. Probably similar to us in many respects in terms of their ambitions as a football club, what they're looking to strive and achieve. Currently, we sit in a healthy league position. Said to the players on Tuesday, from an inside information to the outside. We've got to look at it one game at a time, but also the big picture. The end goal is playoffs. You know, it is to stay in around those playoffs, and you know, for us to do our utmost to get promoted this season. And you know, we have to win games. We have to win games. We have to gain 3 points, and you know, we've got to take that mentality into our game on Saturday against them.
In terms of your team, your starting 11, are you looking to sort of bring aspects from the Saturday game against Dover and maybe look to improve on what you didn't do on Tuesday?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, there were in the 3 games that we've had, there were some very, very positive things at Dagenham, some positive things against Dover, some not so positive things against Dover also. You know, and Tuesday just wasn't a good performance with or without the ball. So we've got to get back on track on what we are. I think that's very, very important. That regardless who we play up against, regardless what system and formation we play up against, of course there'll be tweaks. But you know, when I first spoke to the chairman, you know, it is about putting a DNA and a blueprint on what we are, and the lads have bought into it incredibly well over, you know, a 2.5-3 week period. We've limited time on the grass really. They've brought into it. We have to impose that, and we have to keep improving that. And each week we'll keep looking to tweak, evolve, and adapt it. But yeah, there'll be elements of probably all 3 performances, you know, because there were some moments where we were threatened, had a goal threat on Tuesday in a disappointing performance. So, you know, if we can keep looking to enhance and evolve and improve it, and put those performances together, we'll have some strong performances from now to the end of the season.
Just finally, the likes of Jamie Osborne and Lee Vaughan, I think they're long-term absentees. Are they any closer to getting back on the pitch?
I think it's always a healthy sign when you see both players on the grass. I think their return to train won't be too far away. Jamie trained part yesterday, and he'll train part today, and it's just a case of just making sure that, you know, there's no complications and no aggravations with his injury. Lee's probably about another week away from being out on the grass with the lads and getting the ball involved. So no set dates really that, you know, I can rubber stamp and say, look, both these lads will be back in on this date. You know, we have to take it day by day and just see how their recovery goes and what stage they are in their rehab. And but some positive signs yesterday, seeing Jamie out on the pitch. I've probably seen Jamie a handful of times, you know, playing for Moors over the years, but when I've seen him, I've been highly impressed. And even glimpses yesterday, you know, he's got a quality, he's got a very, very good footballing brain. He knows where people are, he knows what's around him, his surroundings, and technically he's outstanding. So for me, obviously coming in and not having him available, it's going to be like, you know, making a top signing. So I'm looking forward to the return of Jamie Osborne.
Okay.